Okay, so this evening I am going to go through the round 4 of the Business Basics grant. I do not have any fancy presentation to share with you because I'm currently staying in a rural location and we're working with ADSL. And I have found every time I've tried to do a screen share on Zoom, it completely, you can't hear me. I have no idea. Super awkward. Nobody knows whether to just leave the Zoom. We're not going to go through that this evening. On the plus side, I do normally, for those of you that haven't worked with me before, normally rock quite a fancy mum bun, no makeup, and not, I don't normally look quite so glamorous. But today I had a photo shoot. So at least while you're not looking at a presentation, you do get to see a semi-made up version of me because it doesn't happen very often. I'm normally a bit of a hot mess because I really love life and don't love the time it takes to do things like this. So I'm very much a business nerd, passionate mum. So I really love life. So I don't have time for that shit, in all honesty. So yeah. Anyway, a little bit about me. I am a mum. I got lots of fur babies. My husband isn't home from work, so there's a very real possibility we'll get interrupted. But we're going to hope not. We're going to go for the professional Zoom call tonight, but I'm a very real person, and who knows, anything could happen. Okay, so let's talk through this business grant. So give me 2 seconds. I just want to be able to see myself. Oh, no, can't minimize. Okay, what can we do? Let's pop it over here. Sorry, I just muted myself then. I'm trying to just immerse you. Is that better? Sorry, guys. I just can't change my view. All right, well, I'm just not going to worry. I don't need to see what I look like. I know what I look like. Okay, so I don't know if anybody here has ever applied for a grant, but I've got quite a lot of experience with grants. So I have had multiple businesses in the past, and over the last 4 years, I've probably had about $250,000 worth of assistance from the government in the form of grants. So there is a lot of support out there if you learn about it and get good at applying for them. And they're not as hard as you might think. It's actually quite easy to get grants. This Business Basics grant has got a little bit more competitive, a lot more competitive, the last 2 rounds, which is why this round is completely different. So if you have tried to apply in the past and haven't been successful, don't fear, because this round is a lot easier. Whilst it is still likely to be competitive, the last round was an absolute shit fight. It was a shambles. It will have put a lot of people off applying again, which is great. I know it's put a lot of marketing agencies and coaches like myself who always offered a lot of free support to help people get the grants. I know a lot of people just aren't bothering because of how challenging it was last time with how people weren't getting the results. So I actually think this round will be a lot easier, but obviously we have to see. But the process that they're doing it is a lot simpler. There's a lot less effort having to go in for no reward. So the last round, for example, you had to have all your docs, because the rounds used to run out in like 30 minutes. Like the round 2 got taken in 30 minutes from application because it's done in time order. So the last round, everybody was super prepared. Everybody had their stat decks ready, all their paperwork, all their questions, all the quotes, everything that they, all this stuff they made you collect. And then people couldn't even get in the queue. So people were really annoyed. It's not like that this time. It's a lot easier, and you don't have to supply any paperwork unless you've been invited to submit an application. So let's run through it. So let's have a look at dates first of all. So this is split into 2 stages. So stage 1 is a registration of interest, which is very simple. It's a very simple form. I'll show you the form that you need to complete. This opens on the 24th of November, so in 2 days' time, and it closes on the 5th of December. So off the top of my head, what's that? Probably like just under 2 weeks that you have to submit a registration of interest. That registration of interest is not on any time limit. It's not first come, first serve. You can put in your registration of interest any time during that period. It just has to be done in that time frame because that's when it closes. Okay, after then, they will do a ballot. So first time I've ever seen this with grants is just due to the popularity of this grant. They will do a ballot, which is like a lotto. They're going to draw out names for people that will be invited to apply. This makes it so much easier because it means you don't have to go get all your paperwork in advance to not even get the opportunity to apply. Because if you are eligible, and I will make sure that you're eligible, and you put in a good application, which I can help you do, your chances are quite high of receiving the application. So it's great, of receiving the grant. So it's good that they're doing it this way because then you're not going to all the effort of applying unless you've been invited to, and the registration is really simple. So then round 2 for people that are invited to apply is the 12th of December to the 23rd of December. And again, great thing about this is it's not going to be done again on a time limit. So you don't have to sit there at 9 a.m. on the day of launch trying to get your application in. You have that full time period to submit your application. Okay. So let's talk about the activities that you can spend your money on, because as much as I'm sure we would all love $5,000 in our bank account to do absolutely anything we want, it is there obviously for a purpose. It's been supplied by the Queensland government to help business grow. But there are things that you can spend this money on, and there are things that you can't spend this money on. So you can't go spend it, as you please. It has to be for specific purposes to help your business grow. So there's 5 activities, like 5 priorities that they will fund. So the first one is training and coaching. So that's business development, marketing, human resources, or business planning topics, and training or coaching for up to 4 months in duration. The second one is a website build or upgrade. So you can pay to have a website built or upgraded. You can add e-commerce or developing new website content. The third one is professional business advice. So someone to help you create a business plan. The fourth one is strategic marketing services. So that's marketing plans, including SEO advice. And the fifth one is business continuity. I can never say that word. Continuity and succession. So putting together those plans and cyber safety training and tools. So those are the things that if you get the grant that you can put your money towards. And you will need to, if you're invited to apply, you'll need to provide a quote from the supplier you intend on using. So of course, everybody that I'm helping, I'm willing, and I have an offer ready for you. I can provide you with a quote that you need and all of the advice on how to fill out the application to the best success, then for the best success of getting the grant. However, I am not a high pressure salesperson. If you don't want my help, or you feel the money could be better spent elsewhere on one of the other topics, no pressure. I do just genuinely love helping people too. So even if you just take this advice today, apply and get a quote from another supplier, there's no hard feelings. You absolutely do not have to get a quote from me, but I am happy to do that for you. And I do have a great value package, which I will give you the rundown on and send you the details of. Okay, so let's have a look at what you need to be eligible for this grant. So I put quite a bit of this on the advertising that I put online so that you would know in advance, because I didn't obviously want to waste anybody's time. But just a reminder, so you can't have had this grant before. So you can have applied, but you can't have been approved for funding under round 1, 2, or 3 of the business grants program. You must have fewer than 20 employees by head count at the time of applying for the grant. You must have an active ABN and you must be registered for GST. You must have a headquarters in Queensland. You must have an expected turnover of 300 grand or less for the last financial year. And you must not be or have any owners or directors that are insolvent or an undischarged bankrupt. When it says have headquarters in Queensland, it does need to be regional Queensland or Southeast Queensland, which, to be honest, covers most of Queensland. I'm not really sure who they're trying to exclude by just saying regional Queensland and Southeast Queensland. I think maybe Sunny Coast isn't included, but all of Brisbane is, all of Gold Coast, and pretty much everywhere else. There's a massive list on the grant page. I'm going to send you all of these links and all of the PDFs, which you can read in your own time if you choose. Otherwise, I will literally hand feed you everything you need, because some people love to read all the nitty gritty and some people don't. And if you don't, that's fine. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. If you do, I'm going to send you everything anyway, so you just don't have to research it yourself. There's a lot of old information out there from previous grants. I just don't want you to get confused. There's also a lot of grant writers out there that have their own pages, and you think you're looking at the Queensland government grant page, but actually it's them. And then there's fees, and you never, ever, ever pay to apply for a grant. If you are paying to apply for a grant, it's the business, and not necessarily a scam, but it's just deceitful. Like you get those ABN, when people try to register an ABN, you pay like a huge fee for someone to submit an ABN application for you. It's insane. So yeah, it's a bit like that. So just be careful. But I'll send you everything you need, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so let's talk about the registration of interest. It is a very, very simple form. It is going to ask you for some core business information, so things like your address, your ABN, and your GST registration status. So that's just a yes or no. And it's just going to ask you if you meet all the eligibility criteria. So it's just going to list those, and you're going to tick yes, 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 yes. That is it. That's how easy stage 1 is. Now, stage 2, it's not that it's harder. Well, it is harder. It's not that easy. It's not hard, but there is. It's not that it's hard, it's just there's more to do. So you need things like statutory declaration, you need to get just a couple of supporting documents. It's not that much, and I again will help you with all of that. But by the time, if you get to stage 2, you're invited to stage 2, it's 100% worth getting that, because although it is competitively assessed, they will not be inviting like double the amount. They will, let's just say they're going to fund 5,000 businesses. They may invite 5,500 or 6,000, because they know that some people will get rejected, because whilst they've said they're eligible, they're not, or they withdraw their applications, or they're not looking to spend the money on the correct things, or they didn't provide the right quote, or the company that they got a quote from wasn't GST registered. There's all these things that makes the application a fail, and they don't really go back and forth. It's kind of like you're in or you're out. So it's definitely worth obviously doing stage 2. Now with stage 2, what do you need? So again, you're getting quite a bit of time here. So you're getting it goes live stage 2 on the 12th of December, and you have until the 23rd of January. So you've got a huge period of time there to submit your application, which is amazing, because normally you have about 23 minutes. So this is definitely easier than before. So you will need things like statutory declaration. You'll need a quote from a supplier. You can have up to 2 quotes if you're splitting it, but they will need to be for a minimum of $5,000, excluding GST. Now, if you decide that you're going to do this grant and you don't want to do it with me, that's absolutely fine. As I said, no hard feelings, but please just make sure that your supplier is GST registered, because a lot of people just jump on this thinking that they can help people get the grants, and then they actually are the ones that damage their application because they're not eligible. So making sure that your supplier is registered for GST, making sure that they provide you with an invoice with the correct date on it. So it has to be for after the 10th of November. If it's coaching, for example, it must be completed within 4 months of you receiving the funding. So if you're doing coaching, it must be a 4-month program maximum. You can't do a 6-month program, a year program, anything like that. So the invoice has to be very clear on that. And it must be for at least $5,000 plus GST. So generally you're going to get a package for $5,500. That's what you want your invoice to say. If it says $5,000 including GST, you won't. They'll actually reject the application because the funding amount is $5,000 and it cannot include GST. Okay, just make that really clear for you, because I see heaps of people that get knocked back for not being eligible because of their supplier quotes. So if you're not using me, make sure you do that. If you are using me, good choice, because I will obviously supply you with the right quote. Okay, you will need obviously to complete the form, and just make sure obviously that, or you'll need this anyway for stage 1. If you haven't already, just double check your ABN, make sure that it's all up to date, and make sure your GST status, that you definitely register for GST. Just check those things before you even submit your ROI. Okay, so yeah, you need your signed stat deck and your supplier quotes. Yeah, that's all you need. That's all the supporting documents you need. Everything else is just information that they'll ask you. Then it goes off for assessment. Then they notify you so that you send, this is a letter, it'll be an email, on who is successful. This can take about 2 months usually for them to assess. So it's not necessarily a particularly quick process. I would be expecting payouts end of March. And then they literally put $5,000 into the bank account that you provided. So they will then give you 4 months to complete the coaching or the work. So again, just making sure that if you're doing websites and things like that, that you're working with a supplier that can do it in 4 months, because I know there's a lot of backlog since COVID. So just making sure that people can actually adhere to those timeframes, and then they will send you an acquittal survey after 6 months, just to make sure that you completed it. Generally, they won't actually ask for, like, they won't audit it as such. I'm not saying they don't, but I've never been audited. Generally, they send a survey and that's it. But I can't promise that there isn't an auditing process there. There may well be one. Sorry, I just noticed there was chat. I was frozen. Oh, great. That was 20 minutes ago. Oh, I'm back. Sorry, guys. Oh, the internet is fun in the country. So yeah, that is pretty much it. It is quite simple. I'm going to go through the package that I have, but just before I move on to that, does anybody have any questions around the actual grant or the process itself?
I just had one, Laura. So I'm already doing some business coaching with somebody, and so will it have, you would have to wait until March so if you were successful to be able to start it, or can you continue to do the work and pay for it? You
can't use it for something that you're already doing.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So the invoice has to be with a date from after the 10th of November, and no money can be transacted until the money is given to you.
Okay, so it has to commence after the 10th of November, did you say?
No. So the invoice needs to be raised after the 10th of November.
Yeah.
And you can't pay for it before they give you the money. It can't be a reimbursement. So you
Right.
have to wait for the Queensland government to give you the money before you give the money to the supplier.
Okay.
Now, how they would know, I don't know. And as I said, I've never been audited, but that is the rules. And if they do audit, then obviously there's the potential there for there to be
responsible for it. Yeah.
responsible for it. Yeah. But the rules are the invoice must be raised after the 10th of November for a start date once the money is being provided.
Right. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Thank you.
Was there any other questions around any of that? Okay. All right. I will just show you, tell you, not show you. I'm so not used to having a share screen on. So I'm going to be offering 2 packages that are $5,000, obviously, plus GST. The first one will be weekly group training for 4 months. So it'd be 20 sessions, plus 3 one-on-one sessions with me, which are 2 hours in duration, plus a 3-day in-person event in Cairns, or you can join online. And I will send information to everybody after this. When I send you all the PDFs on the grant, I will also send you information on what this will look like and what is included in the 3-day event. The other option is I will do 2 hours per fortnight for 4 months, plus the 3-day event in Cairns, or obviously online. So I'll put all of that together for you into a nice email and send that off to, and I'll send that to everybody that's here now and everybody that I'll send the recording to as well. You'll receive that within the next 24 hours. And that will have everything that we've discussed today, plus my package. I won't send you a quote at this stage. What we would do is you need to obviously do your register of interest, because at this stage you don't actually need to specify who you're going to use. You're just going to register your interest. And then if you are invited to put in an application, then you can let me, I'll probably send an email out that week anyway, just to see who got invited, because I have got everything you need to submit an application. So if anybody wants that information, I'm happy to share that with you, whether you use me or not. And at that stage, I can provide anyone with a quote that needs it for their application. Any questions? No questions. Everybody's so quiet. Okay.
No, that's great. Thanks so much, Laura. So helpful.
No worries, darling. I love your
See you
photo.
soon. Oh, thank you. I think I was in a day spa.
Great.
Love it.
All right.
I know. What a life.
Do you have any other questions?
Thank you.
No, I think that's fine. I was just thinking about, so if I'm in the middle of starting something, whether it's what to do, whether I still apply. I suppose I could apply for websites and those kind of things too.
Yeah, there's so much you can spend it on this.
Yeah.
And I'll send you that list as well.
Yeah.
And even if you're in the middle of doing coaching, there's like, I used to have 3 coaches at once when I had it was quite a big business that I had, and they would all focus on different things. So I feel like you can work with multiple people, but just focusing on different things. So for you, for example, if you did want to do more coaching, maybe the one-on-one would be a better option, because then we can focus on whatever your other coach isn't focusing on. To give you an idea on my background, like my jam is really growth strategy. So I'm really good at bringing small businesses and blowing them up, international companies. So I work a lot around growth, growing your audience, database, marketing strategies, sales. So I used to be sales executive to one of the biggest cruise companies in the UK. And I've done one here in Australia as well. So yeah, sales, marketing, growth, strategy, that's all sort of my jam. I can do most things, but that's what I do with most of my clients.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, if there is no more questions, I will wrap it up for the evening. As I said, I'm going to send you all that information within the next 24 hours anyway. If anybody does think of any other questions, or there's questions that you have burning right now that you don't want to ask in front of anyone, feel free to drop me either a DM on socials, or you can reply to the email when I send it out. I'm always here if you want to pick my brains on anything. And best of luck with the grant.
Thank
I
you.
hope you all get it.
Thanks, Laura.
No
Bye.
worries. Have a
Judy.
great evening, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.